Hey folks, it's Greg and Jana with Strange RV Tours, and today we are at Davis Memorial Park Cemetery in Las Vegas, Nevada, and we are here to see mobster Jerry Lisner's mausoleum site. So we're going to take a look at his site, then we're going to head over to his home, show you his house, and tell you about his grisly murder.
Okay guys, we're right on Eastern Boulevard. It's running right across in front of us, but this section is called Praying Hands Columbrium, and this is where he is actually residing at this point.
Okay, let's take a look at his space. Hopefully you can hear us. The wind is ridiculous today. His remains, cremains, are located right here. Jerry Lisner, 1933 to 1979. Right. We're shooting part of this video from inside of our car because it is a very windy day and it'll mess up the sound if I get out in the wind. So we are in Las Vegas. The home that we are looking at here right in front of us was the home of Jerry Lisner. We are located right now about a mile and a half away from the grave site of Jerry Lisner. But here is the story. Back in the 70s, all the way up till the early 1980s, the Stardust Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada was mobbed up. Frank Rosenthal was running the Stardust Casino for the Chicago outfit, and Anthony Spilatro was brought into town to be muscle for Frank Rosenthal, to take care of problems. Anthony also was in charge of the skim, which was the money that the mob was illegally pulling out of the casino and not declaring. Now, Anthony Spilatro was afraid that Jerry Lisner was going to turn state's evidence and testify against him. So, Anthony Spilatro ordered an unauthorized mob hit on Jerry Lisner. Frank Cullotta was in charge of the hit. And I'll be getting out in a few minutes to kind of walk around the property so you can get some different views of it. But Jerry Lisner was basically assassinated or killed by Frank Cullotta. How it happened: Frank Cullotta had a partner that was going to go along with him for this hit. His name was Wayne Matecki. Wayne Matecki met Frank Cullotta over at Frank's house. Frank brought with him a .22 caliber pistol and a box of ammunition. He didn't want the box of ammunition to be found in his own personal home in case he was suspected of committing this crime, so he thought, I'll bring it with me. Somewhere along the way, I'll dump this box after the hit's complete. Well, they came over here to this house. Frank Cullotta walked up to the front door with the .22 pistol in his pocket. Knocked on the door. Jerry Lisner opened the door. He was happy to see Frank Cullotta. Frank said, "Hey, how you doing? Is there anybody in the home with you?" Jerry Lisner said no, and Frank Cullotta said, "Good. I don't want anybody to hear what I've got to say." So Jerry Lisner invited him in. When Frank Cullotta entered the entryway, he asked Jerry Lisner what that noise was. And Jerry Lisner said, "What noise?" And he said, I heard something coming from down the hallway." So Jerry Lisner turned towards the hallway and started walking down the hallway to see if there was anything in there making noise. And Frank Cullotta followed behind him. While he was walking behind him, he pulled the .22 caliber pistol out of his pocket, held it up to the back of Jerry Lisner's head, just behind his ear, and fired 2 bullets into the back of Jerry Lisner's head. Fired them at an upward angle to make sure that the bullets would enter his brain. After the 2 bullets were fired, they didn't even faze Jerry Lisner. Jerry Lisner surprisingly turned around to Frank Cullotta and said, "What are you doing?" Well, Frank Cullotta couldn't believe that Jerry Lisner didn't hit the ground. So he proceeded to empty the rest of the pistol into Jerry Lisner's skull from about a foot away. Now, amazingly, this did not kill Jerry Lisner. In fact, Jerry Lisner actually ran through the house into the kitchen, where he opened up the door going to the garage and hit the garage door button, raising the garage. Well, Frank was right behind him, grabbed him, threw him out of the way, hit the garage door opener. The garage door stopped about 1.5 feet, 2 feet up off of the ground. Now, Frank Cullotta's partner, Wayne Matecki, sitting in the car outside, and he sees the garage door open up and stop. So he's wondering what the heck's going on. So Frank Cullotta and Jerry Lisner are in a fight for their lives here in this kitchen, and Frank noticed that there was a water cooler sitting on the counter that had an extension cord. So he grabbed that extension cord, wrapped it around Jerry Lisner's neck, started strangling him. Now, if you can imagine, Jerry Lisner already has 5 or 6 bullets in his head, and he's still alive, fighting for his life, while Frank Cullotta is trying to strangle him with an extension cord. Well, he still didn't die. So Frank Cullotta notices there's a knife on the counter, so he starts to reach for the knife, and he said that he was nervous about touching the knife because he didn't have gloves on. But before he could reach the knife, the door opened, and Wayne Matecki walked in, his partner. And Wayne Matecki said, "What in the world's going on? What's taking so long?" Oh, Frank turns around to him and says, "This SOB won't die. He refuses to die." And so anyways, Wayne Matecki luckily had brought, for Frank, luckily had brought the ammo box in with him. So Frank Cullotta yells at Wayne Matecki to go in the other room and get a couple pillows. So he grabs a couple pillows and comes back. They put a pillow behind Jerry Lisner's head on the ground, and they put a pillow on top of Jerry's head, reloaded the weapon, and Frank Cullotta held the weapon up to Jerry Lisner's head. Right before he fired another bullet, Jerry Lisner raised his head, so he was still alive and kicking. At that point, Frank Cullotta emptied the entire contents of the gun into Jerry Lisner's head, killed him. He and Wayne Matecki carried Jerry Lisner's body out the back sliding glass door and threw him into the swimming pool, where his wife found his body the next morning. Frank even said that he watched Jerry Lisner's body sink while the blood was rising in the water. So that's the story behind the mob hit on Jerry Lisner. Now I'm gonna get out here and I'll give you a little more view of the home. This hit took place in 1979. This right here was the home of Jerry Lisner. And this hit was reenacted in the movie Casino. Give you one more view of it. Okay, well, we hope you enjoyed this little visit that we made to Jerry Lisner's personal home, his gravesite, and the location of the robbery which brought down him and the Hole in the Wall gang. Just like in the movie Casino, it really happened. So, if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, please hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell for notifications, and please share these videos. And until next time, we'll see you guys again real soon. Have a nice evening. Bye-bye.